Welcome back to the Good Wife podcast and happy Friday. Thank you for joining us. My name is Rachel. I am the host of this show, and you are very welcome to make this your home. And you do that by subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing the episodes that you find useful with the people that you care about. This week is no different. We have a good conversation, I'm sure, lined up for you. If you're interested in finances, especially in the marriage space, you might want to buckle up, get yourself a notebook, maybe even call your husband, because the husbands, they like to be dragged to these YouTube sessions. Say, my wife makes me watch your show. So call him and tell him that there's a show for us to watch. But before we get into that, a big shout out to TCN Studios, who are the people, producers behind this wonderful content that you see, the amazing production. I see the comments, by the way. Oh my gosh, the lighting, the production. Yes, TCN Studios. Follow them on Instagram and give them business. Yeah. And then to my wonderful hair and makeup artist, Rehoboth Glamour, also can be found on Instagram. And then to Risa Naturals, who is always gifting my guests, and to Newman's Foods, the makers of the best snacks in the region. With that being said, I'd like to welcome my guests, who I am going to be having this conversation with. Carol Beyanga. Carol was here for a very fast double date night with her husband, Joseph Beyanga, also known as Joe Walker. And she's going to be talking to us today about finances in marriage, the big elephant. And then we have Martin Muhwezi, who is a financial literacy coach. Is that how you describe yourself? Yes, yes. And he's many other things. He'll tell us a bit about that. He's also married with children, and so I think he's qualified.
Yeah.
Kidogo. Over with
Not
power.
Kidogo,
With power.
Yes.
To talk about this subject. So welcome to you both. Thank you for being here. So one random Monday evening, we're having coffee with Martin and we're talking about finances in marriage. And Ben is like, you must have Martin on the show. And then he's like, and you must have Carol on the show, because she had all these gems about money and budgeting and saving. Whilst her husband is a spender, she's more of a saver. But they have managed to find middle ground. And today we want to hear how they've managed to do that in a bit more detail. Welcome, Martin. Welcome, Carol. So I told you I have a few icebreaker questions, some quick responses from you. We'll start with, what is a purchase or investment that you regret? Or what is a purchase or investment that you are thankful you made?
Okay, I'm not going to fall into the trap, so it will be ladies first.
Martin. All right, okay, I'll go first. I think I'll go for the purchase that I made that I was happy with. I don't know if it's a purchase, but I spent quite a bit of money taking myself away from the work and the hustle and bustle for a week.
Oh.
Yes, I went to a place that because I was tired. I felt that the work had been much. It was just been lots of things happening.
Yeah.
So I sort of thought, no, I need to go somewhere where I don't want to work. I don't want to be thinking sweeping, mopping. I could do that in my house, but I don't want that. I want someone to,
Yeah.
So it was quite a bit of money, but I felt that I needed it.
I needed
it, and it was very good because I got to rest, and I got just time to think through what I want to do next, what the year is going to look like the next couple of years. So for me, that was something I feel I invested in me.
In yourself.
In myself, yes.
Yeah,
So I really enjoyed that.
And often we feel guilty about
it. Yes. Actually, I'd wanted to do it for, I said, maybe 3 days. And just was like, no, go for like a week. Yes. Which I did. So I was happy that I did.
Nice.
Yes.
That's nice. Yeah. Martin?
Right. There are quite a number of investments I regret.
Okay. Love to hear those.
There's a book, but...
There's a book coming.
But the one that stands out now is when I invested in agriculture.
Oh.
I decided to go into passion fruit farming. My extended family had land, and my mother was an agriculturalist, and I knew that really the DNA does not lie.
Really?
Oh,
yeah. So I said, I'm going to jump into this.
Yes.
So I went into passion fruit farming. I went the whole 9 yards. I did irrigation, put up all the vines. I even got a consultant to be able to set it up, set the farm. And everything was doing well
Yeah.
until a certain point, the production started going down.
Oh dear.
With the irrigation, with the fertilizers, I
investment.
did everything by the book, and
It was just not
it
yielding
just
fruit.
tanked.
Oh.
So in the end, 60 million shillings later, I just had to rub off the farm soil off my hands and just walk away from it.
But this is not for me.
And my take home there was really, one, that you should invest in areas that you're familiar with. And number two is that, agriculture has external factors that you have no control over.
Yeah.
And lastly, that I think the real value in agriculture is in the agro-processing side of things, where you're processing. You're not into the raw agriculture at the first stage.
The external value factors you don't really have control
over.
Yes. Yeah.
So you can do everything by the book, and then the rain just takes a while to come.
Correct.
Or we have the dry season like we just had,
Yeah, which
you
is
know,
just too,
you know,
So I decided that I'll pack this to be a hobby in my retirement.
when you have made some come and you're not afraid to lose. Okay, so my second question to you would be, where do you draw the line when it comes to money? Like, what's that thing that you're like, I could never be caught dead spending money on this thing? Whether you become the wealthiest person or...
even that. That's a tricky one.
It's a tricky one.
It's a tricky one, yes. But I think for me, not because I don't think someone should spend money on it, but because of my habits, I don't purchase as many clothes. Even though I love them, because I don't put them on.
Okay.
So I buy it and I'm like, but it just stays in the wardrobe. So I find myself going to my comfort zone, you know, the clothes that I feel comfortable and I can do so many things at. I find that I put this very lovely dress or this very lovely outfit, but I just, I don't put it on. So I try and limit now how because at the point I had just too much. I wasn't putting it on.
That's interesting because, oh my gosh, women are going to struggle with this one. First of all, they're easy to get.
Yes,
they're everywhere. They're on Instagram. They're in the shops.
Yes, every second shop is like. But Ugandans love. They're what they wear. Every second shop is a boutique. It's a clothes shop. Yes.
So for you to have trained yourself there, I think that's commendable. Yeah, Martin.
For me, it is the get-rich-quick schemes. Oh, yes.
Good one.
Get us 5 people and you get X amount of money.
And as Ugandans, we keep falling for this. It's amazing that the past 20 years, there have probably been over 20
There's been many
schemes
like that. And they get and do make money.
Yes, and people keep going back in them. And I think they've now mastered that if I go in early, I'm able to get out what I put in before more people come in, because it's a numbers game. The more people that keep coming in, you keep being lifted up. Until the traffic reduces at the bottom, then everything starts coming down and the pyramid scheme crashes. So I did forex trading.
Oh, you did?
I won't mention the others for security purposes. So that's when me and my wife, we said from today forth, let us understand that we are no longer hunters, we are farmers. We are going to sow and we shall wait for the fruit. We're not going to go and look for an antelope in the field and think we're going to come out with a harvest quickly.
That's true. That's true. That's a good lesson to learn and to have passed it on to, so to do it at family level as well. Because I think as women, again, you'll come to your husband and say, oh my gosh, this is really interesting investment, like what do you think? And then he's trying to show you that, I don't know, making sense. Then you feel like he's not being supportive. You know, so I like that. I think my final icebreaker question I'll ask at the end, because I feel it will tie up everything that we are going to talk about. So we're talking about money in family or money in marriage. There are certain narratives that are perpetuated in the marriage space today that can be both harmful. I don't know if they're beneficial. I would like to hear from the both of you. So one of those is his money is our money, and then my money is my money. The other one is joint accounts. I think it's a noble thing. It has like a good context or background. But there's a lot of contention or different opinions when it comes to joint accounts. That's just two of the many aspects of money. What are your thoughts on the narratives that we have that are informing how we manage money in our homes, and how do you think they are impacting marriages and families today?
Yeah. I think especially the one of his money is our money. I think I'll talk a bit about that one. I think it comes from somewhere. I think that this is my assumption that in the past the men were the hunter-gatherers. Yes. So they brought in the bread and everything. And then at some point, if women were to work, it was a small thing. It was a little shop. It was just a side thing that brought in extra money for whatever it was. So it sort of made sense to say, no, he's taking, because he's bringing in more money, he's working and he has all these things, the business and everything. So that money will take care of all of our needs, whether it's school fees or the rent and everything. And the little money she has, let it take care of a couple of things and, herself. So I think that's where it came from. I think then maybe it made sense. I don't know what.
At the time.
But if you think about it now, and if you're to think about a couple, for example, that is both are working or both have businesses, I don't know what it does for trust. I don't know what it does for we are doing this together. Yes. I feel like it hits at that. The marriage in that area takes a hit. Yes. So I feel that narrative. I think people should question it. And sort of say, in our circumstances, does it work? Does it? Why should we do it? What makes sense? Down to the bare bones of, okay, how much is he earning, and how much am I earning? Am I earning, half of what he's earning, or a quarter? Are we earning a bit similar? Am I earning more than what he's earning? And then make decisions around that. So I think it can be, in my view, I think it can be harmful because. In a marriage where people are supposed to make decisions together. At that point, if he's the one bringing in all the money, then he wants to make all the decisions. Because he's like, I'm bringing in the money. I am paying for the rent. Therefore, I'll decide the house we live in. I'm paying for the children's education, so I'm going to decide the schools they go to. That's the feeling that someone who's making the money wants to, and who people are depending on for the money, wants to decide how they're going to. So I think that becomes that sort of narrative. And I also feel that when the responsibility is not shared, when the money is not put together, then it's very easy for people to invest in separate things. So my money is my money, so I'll do what I want with it. I will buy what I want. I will invest what I want. And maybe he's not aware. Maybe he does not think it's a good idea, but it's your money. So you do what you want, and I will do what I want. It's my money. So I think it does harm on those various levels. Is what I feel about that. Yeah.
And I think to your point, ultimately it will affect growing in oneness and intimacy and trust. Because if you're investing in your own thing and I'm also investing in my own thing, so what happens when my thing, like his agriculture venture, pours? So then do you come to your spouse for support?
I know. How does that work?
How does that work? It just damages many things. But Martin, what do you think?
Let me just share my personal story. When we got married, I was a money nut. That means I used to count every
penny.
I used to track every expense. I knew percentages, I knew ratios, I had pie charts, bar charts, everything regarding my money. My eye was on the ball. It could not leave. And then my wife was more of, money is for enjoyment. After all, it's man who made money, so let's just enjoy it. It's for enjoyment. And so we started struggling. So I decided that, okay, in order for us to manage this well, let's come together. The counselors told us that we are now one. So let's put everything together and then we plan for it together. So we tried that. And guess what? My wife's personal needs were never met. There was never a budget for hair or for makeup or for shoes. Because in my logical mind as a man, my priority is that we have to deal with the
big thing.
The needs. Then we move to the wants. Food. Makeup is a want. It's a want. we have to pay rent. You're going to have your hair nicely done here and they are kicking us out of the home.
Yeah,
so let's get serious.
Uh,
So that did not work.
Yeah.
So we decided, you know what? Let's distribute the expenses.
okay.
You're going to handle these costs. I'll handle these costs. And then whatever is left on your side, you can be able to enjoy it. I will not
Okay.
disturb you. And same my end.
Okay.
And that seems to be what has worked.
Has worked
since.
for you.
Because once we had brought everything together, the priorities were not
The-
focused on her, but focused on the home.
Yes.
Because as the man, you're the head of the home. So
Yes,
you're looking
you're
at
thinking,
a
yes.
wide angle.
Yes. Yes.
So that's how it has been. And of course, the fact that every woman has to actually now contribute to the family
Yeah.
is because we are in a modern economy.
Yeah.
The economy that our parents grew up in was totally different.
Different.
Where the father was the breadwinner, he would pay for everything, and the mother was just the homemaker. So that has changed. Most women are now working because the education levels have increased, and so we have to come together. But what I want to stress here is that it's important. We may have all these techniques, all these models, but you need to have the same vision.
That's
Because
true.
once you have the same vision, you'll be able to create the roadmap in which direction that you're going to go. You'll say, this is the road we're taking. So whether we have separate accounts or we have one
joint
account,
account.
the fact that we have the same vision, this is what we are growing towards. These others are just methods and different tools that we can use to get to the
Where we
direction.
want to go.
I like what he's saying.
Yeah.
Because I like that he has a different model. I think the different models.
Actually,
and
I'm
Yes.
curious to hear what your
because
model
I think
is.
I like the idea that there are many models. Not
Yes,
not
yes,
everyone should
yes.
be.
Yeah.
Because like how you were asking about joint accounts. So that's our model. So
Yeah.
our money, your money is my money. My
Yes.
money
My money
is
is your money,
Yes.
yes.
So for us, the way it is that we do everything pretty much together. And we're very much like you, only that we switch. I'm like you, I am counting the
Yes.
pennies.
Her eyes on the
Yeah.
board.
Usually couples, there's a
Yes.
one.
Counting how much do we have and
Yeah.
what I already know the plan, the school fees of the girls is going to be this much and this is what we need and everything. For him is like, but really,
Money is for
if,
spending.
yes, if we met, this was a gig that you did, I did
Yeah.
because somebody let us
God will
buy.
provide.
Yeah. God will provide.
God knows me. I'm thinking we invest.
Yeah.
So it's very and we've had to learn how to do things together. But
Yeah.
I think what I really like it. So our model is that we have everything is. Can I say it's? He has decided that because he feels he's safer with me managing the money.
Yes.
He's given me that responsibility.
Ah,
Yes, and he
okay.
has said you will take care
Yeah.
of everything. So I know how much we have. I know how much is in the accounts. I know how much he's making, how much I'm
Yes,
making.
yes.
Because then I'm thinking, I'm planning, I'm
you're
saying,
planning
so we can do this in this
Yeah.
year's time, we can do that. So I know how much is in his account and how much is in mine. We have joint accounts together. Everything is a decision made together. And I don't take that for granted that he has given me that. But I think what I think he understands that if his money is with me, it is
staying.
going.
Yeah.
Yes, if I'm going
Yes,
to
it's
spend
going.
it. Yes, it's going to. If it's with
Yeah.
him,
Yes,
it's
yes.
going to go. So he's like, let me give it to the person who I know
Yes.
can take care of
Yeah.
it and manage it. But I've also grown to understand that he's a spender, and what I appreciate about him is that whatever, even if he spends, I feel like it's not a bad thing. It's not like what are
Yeah.
you doing? It's something.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the time he went and got good money and he bought tires for the car. I thought.
Right.
They're not cheap.
I
They're not cheap, exactly.
They're not,
I said,
yeah.
It's a big purchase.
did we need to buy this
Yes,
now? Right? Like that
yes.
was in my head. So he does things like
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
And what I really appreciate is that at the end of the day, it's a good thing. It's a good purchase. I just sometimes think maybe not
The
now, the
timing,
timing. But
yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
so I think I just like the idea that there are different models,
Yes.
Yeah.
and it's important for a couple to come and say what works for
What
us.
works for us?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's going to work? I mean, you talked about your wife's needs not being met. And I mean, in the beginning with Ben, and I think in a way we still have a similar model where we put all our money in a pot. I found that there were purchases that he was never going to prioritize.
Yes.
Like if the curtains were worn out and I
Yeah.
needed to replace them, or
That's a blind
our
spot
bed
for
sheets.
us.
Yes, I know.
Our bed
Yes.
sheets, we've used them for 5 years.
Yeah, can we please?
Can
Yes.
we replace them?
Yes.
And then I'm asking him for this money. He's like, do we have to do it now?
I know.
I'm
Yeah.
waiting
If it's
for
not
you.
broken,
Don't fix it, you know? So I think, but the importance of conversation
Yes.
in saying, okay, we have this model and it has been working for a while, but now I feel like there are certain areas that are not being met and yet may not be as important as rent, but they're important, and so how do we refine the model? So the model is not static, it's evolving, I think also in speaking about the model, there's the aspect of financial discipline, because for a model to work, you need to be disciplined. I've had the opportunity to sit with you, Carol. You told me how you started, building the discipline for you guys and, watching the money grow to a point where now you can say, we can invest here, we can buy a car. I want you both to speak to how you have built discipline and then maybe advising the people who are watching. How do you do it together? Because I think that's where the issue is, because like you've rightly put it, you guys are the same in the sense that you watch the money and you're married to people who are cool with spending the money. And many couples are like that. So how do you build the discipline as a couple?
Okay.
Yeah. Who wants to go first?
All right, I'll
Martin,
go first.
yeah.
But first, let's go back to those models. There are 4 models that I know of that most couples are actually using. The first one, I call it the all-in-one, where you bring all your money from the storehouse, bring all the income into the storehouse, and then now you start planning for it together. That seems to be the most acceptable, but not necessarily
The most
one size fits all.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
The other is the 50-50 split, where couples say that these are our expenses as a household, 4 million shillings. You pay 2, I pay 2, we are both working.
Okay.
Okay.
That's the second model. The third model is you distribute the expenditure according to someone's income. Because sometimes the 50-50 may not work. If someone is earning 1 million shillings, another one is earning 10. If you get 50%, the one of 1 million, all their money is
left with
just going
nothing,
in.
yes.
So they are burdened. So that's the third model, where you now apportion appropriately according to the income. Then the last one, of course, is the one where I call it Inze Mugaga. The head of the family says, I will carry this cross.
Yes.
From the razor blade
to the
to the mortgage.
Yes.
I'm carrying all of them. So you pick according to your taste and preference.
Okay.
Yeah. So discipline, interestingly, we started in that part where I was the one who was watching the money and planning for it, and my wife was just really using money how she wants. If an expense comes and the money is there,
Should buy
deal with it.
Yeah.
If there is no money, it's okay.
It's okay.
The sun will still shine
Yes.
and it will rise and forth.
Yes.
So, but then as we grew, and imagine me who is a financial education practitioner, I'm trying to practice what I preach in the family, and I'm facing...
You're failing.
Yeah. So now I say, God,
Yeah.
really,
Help me.
if this was the way of testing, so when what I'm doing is working.
Yeah.
But over time, we were like this, but we started becoming like
Closer.
this. We started having concessions. I'm like, okay, let's buy this. I know that it's not important, but you like it, you want it, let's do it. Then also Hash was like, okay, I may not actually need it. Let's
can
put the
wait.
money into this.
Yeah.
So over time, we've come closer. And now that she started going into business, started doing business, she started realizing the importance of financial discipline. Because with business, you cannot mess.
Yes.
Once you do not discipline, the business will close.
It will crumble.
So in that way, she's been able now to increase her understanding of money and management and financial discipline to the point that sometimes she puts me in check. Oh, like, praise the Lord. Yeah. So that's how we've been able to get and manage financial discipline and grow into that space. Yeah, it's a journey for everyone because I think by default we are designed to feed the flesh. So we have to fight against the flesh. It's a real fight. But with a good environment and a good community that can be able to support you, you can be able to get into that position.
Into that position.
Yeah,
I like that. I think I'm glad you started with the models, because I think as a couple you need to first sit down and figure out which one will work for you. And just managing that model, you need discipline. If
Yes.
you're saying
Yes.
our income every month is 4 million shillings, I'm
Yes.
bringing 2, you're bringing 2, that money has to sustain you
Exactly.
for the month. And I think as issues come up, like if you make a purchase and you shouldn't have made it, that's room for you to have a conversation.
Yes.
Like, okay, now you've made this purchase,
Yeah,
the
it's a
timing
teaching
is off.
point.
It's a teaching moment, you
Yes.
know, it's a teachable moment. But I like what you said on compromise,
Yes.
that as you grow closer and in trust,
Yes.
you're able to
Yes.
make certain compromises.
Yes.
Like, my wife likes this thing, or my husband likes this
Yeah,
thing.
let me.
Let me make that concession and
Yeah.
you know, have it for them.
Yeah.
I think it also builds trust.
Yeah,
That
it
way,
builds
when
that, yeah.
you say no to a purchase in
Yes.
future,
Yes.
I'm not feeling bad. Like
Yeah.
you're always denying me.
Because I've already made deposits
You've already-
there. I can't
exactly.
withdraw.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Carol.
Well said. Yes.
Yeah.
I think just before I say mine, I think it's important for us to note that there is, with the, couples like you said are different. So now, like me and Martin, we are very, and then our spouses are different.
Yeah.
But I think there is, both are good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Both have
Yes.
their health. And for me, what I want to say is that I'm glad Joseph is like that, because if he wasn't, our house, I don't know. Like, I think it would be, I'd be like, no, it's okay. We don't,
Yeah,
we don't have to. You don't need, yes. So I find that, and now, which is why I'm more willing to, to let him, to just listen to his idea. I find that, things are a lot better, I think, than if it were me. In terms of, for example, he's a person who, when it comes to the car, he doesn't want anything wrong with the car. So he does
Doesn't
the checks.
compromise.
Yeah,
Yes,
doesn't compromise it.
yeah.
Takes care of
Yeah,
it.
tip-top
He
shape.
checks, yes, keep
Yeah.
in tip-top shape. Takes it for, to the garage, but never any small sound. What's that?
Yes.
Right, what's that?
Hearing.
Oh, like it's just you go to the to the mechanic. I had
Yeah.
this thing, So I like that he's not afraid to spend,
Okay.
because and I realize that there's some good in that, because
Yes.
we need to get things fixed.
Correct.
We need to and then one other place that he really spends is on the girls, our daughters. So sometimes I'm like, but not too much
I
money.
know.
So, for example, like when we go shopping for them, they don't like shopping with mommy.
Uh-huh.
Because
she's
mommy has
watching
the
the
money. Yes, she's watching the money and she's calculating. And she's like, guys, we're getting to the mark.
to the mark
We
of-
had said we're going to spend this much.
Yeah.
Mommy, and then they're trying to convince. I really want 5 of these, not only 2. Joseph does not look at anything. He just says, put in the trolley.
Yeah.
Yes, put in the trolley,
Aw.
put in the trolley. So I'm like, sometimes when I get the receipt, I'm at home, I almost have a heart attack. You have
spent
spent
all
this
this
much on shopping for school,
Yes.
and not serious shopping like much, but just like grab and
yeah.
things like that.
Luxury.
Yeah. So, but what I realize is that I think one of the things I like about it, I still have some concerns, but what I like about it is that the girls feel that their dad doesn't really spoil them, but that he would do anything for them.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
That he is going to look out for them,
Yeah.
and he's not going to deny them what they feel they need.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to pocket money, he insisted they school in Branyanji.
Yes.
So when we were giving pocket money, I said, that's too
Oh,
much.
that.
All that.
Why are you comparing with your days?
Yes, that was a problem. I realized
Please.
that. I realized like
The economy has moved on.
yes. I said I'm comparing with the 19
I
what?
know,
No. The economy has moved on.
Really talk money.
So I realized, okay, that, but I still thought, it's a bit much. But I remember his argument, and I said, you know what? They are far away from us.
They are.
They are far.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have family and everything, but they are far. Let them not feel that they are stuck.
Yes.
That
Yes.
grab has run out by the time we send someone to say like, let them feel there's enough for them until the visiting day.
Yeah.
So I like that thinking.
The
For me, I would have
thinking,
said, what
perspective.
happened?
Compliment.
Yeah.
This was
Yes, we
supposed to say we
agreed.
agreed, right? But for him, he's like, no, let them be
Yeah.
comfortable. So there's really many positives
Yeah.
in the way he looks at that. But in terms of us, I think discipline. I think many times discipline comes after, like even Martin, after you have you have made some errors,
Yes.
you've made some mistakes, you
Yes.
found yourself in a place you don't want to be. So I think for us, it began when I remember that time we were coming from, I don't know where we were coming from. We were in the car going home, and Akila, our firstborn, was in school, nursery. So I was thinking, school fees, what, that kind of thing. So I was telling him, we have to pay school fees for Akila. It's this much. And it wasn't much in my view. Then he's like, I don't think we have it
the
right,
money.
right
Right
now.
now.
Yeah. What do you mean?
How do we not have it?
Yes.
And I think for me it was because I had seen my parents
Plan.
plan.
Yes.
And for me, I think both my parents were very keen on planning. And sometimes my father would even pay. He would take advantage of. Sometimes some schools would say, if you pay for the whole year,
You get a
you get a discount. Might
Yes.
have pay for the year.
Yeah.
You know, he'd say,
Wow.
okay, you'd pay for the year and that sort of thing. So of course he had planned for it. He had known that, we have 5 kids, 7 kids. This is how much they need. So so he'd have the money, knowing that we don't have money.
like
This is nursery. Yeah, it's not even secondary
for
school.
it to
Going
rent
forward.
one,
Yes.
emergency.
Yes. So I said, how
Lord.
can we not have? He said, no, I think, and looking back, it's not like we misspent it. I think we just hadn't planned for it.
Yeah.
That's when I thought, no, we cannot. I
can't
don't want to
continue
be in
like
this
this.
situation again,
Yeah.
where our
Yeah.
child is going to school and
We
we're thinking
don't
we don't
the
have money, we don't have, no.
Yeah.
So that made me realize, okay, we have to plan. We have to plan for them. We have to say, how much is the school fees? Even by and large, it's this amount. How much will it cost for a year?
Yes.
Do we have something somewhere? Or how can we
Yes.
plan for it, knowing
Yes.
that every time we
Yeah.
know when the school term ends
Yeah.
Exactly.
and begins?
Yeah.
So can we start to plan for, okay, the time is ending. Can we make sure that a week 2 we have something? So that began us having conversations.
yeah.
I told him, I said, no, we have to have this conversation. I think he was like,
Oh, here we go.
yeah, we go, yes. You know,
Yes.
when we have to talk.
Talk.
Uh-huh.
He was like, But I think that's where it began.
Yeah.
Having those conversations, we started to say, how do we do it? How do we make sure there is money? That means we have to save.
Yes.
How do we save? Do we save? The money comes through, we put it somewhere else. We try and not spend it.
Yeah.
We had those conversations. And I think over time, that discipline started to build. And I think what helped also was recognizing
Yes.
our strengths. And so recognizing that for me, I was very good at the saving.
Yes.
So he knew that anytime money came in, you'd say, "Honey, money has come."
Yes.
A gig,
Hand over.
Hand it
hand
over
over,
to
yes,
you.
we'll
Yes.
keep it and then we'll see.
Yeah.
And then so recognizing that, but also me recognizing that for him, he's such a good bargainer. Clearly, I think even Joseph can bargain on school fees.
Really? Are
I
you
think if he wanted
serious?
to,
Really?
like if he wanted to, he
Yeah.
can say now.
Eh.
Like for example, he'd go and say, "Now, Akila, our daughter, is in the school. She does this. She's a school DJ. You don't pay her."
Wow.
Yeah, but
Wow.
she does all the functions. I'm aware.
Yeah.
I have given her a banana pin to manage that. We have given her music.
Wow.
I can't.
Yeah. There are levels in this
If
thing.
he wanted to,
He would bargain.
bargain. He'd say,
Yeah.
because she does. This is a service. And
Yes.
she does. She DJs for the
Yes.
school. All the
Oh,
events. Yes,
nice.
like
Yeah.
Scripture Union has something. She'll win.
She'll be
Mm.
there.
As for the end of that
Yeah.
party they have before, she will do that. Whatever it is, she does it. So because she does this, I think she's offering a service. I think we can reduce
The school
the school fees by
Wow.
this.
It's a good argument, honestly.
I've learned something new today.
I know.
So basically, Joseph will bargain
Yeah.
where he feels he will bargain. So, and I learned to use that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like and now also, so it's a good discipline. So now I realize that if I need to buy something, I send Joseph if I can, because me you say 1, 2, then you will insist. I will
Just
give
let me
in.
give
you
Joseph
that
will
money.
say,
Yeah,
we're not paying this 1M.
It's
We're
a
going
lot.
to pay at least 800.
Yeah.
Let us start this conversation. So I think recognizing each of our strengths.
Strengths,
Yes. So I am
yes.
the saver. I like to keep the money. I like to count the coins. But Joseph is the bargainer,
Yes.
and that sort of thing. He also knowing that I remember that at the beginning he was the one who was getting a lot of gigs. So respecting that he's getting all those gigs and supporting him in that, because we
Yes.
know. So sometimes he's going to work a bit late, sometimes,
Yeah.
but knowing that.
Yeah.
So I think over time we began to see each other's strengths and know that this person is good with this person is good with that, and we started to grow them and grow them. So now I find that, and then also what was very important for us is we realized we had to talk about the money.
That's
Deliberately.
very important.
Yes,
Yeah.
deliberately, not when there is no money. Okay, what's happened? Okay, let's
yes.
talk. Because at that time, emotions are
Emotions.
heightened.
I
What
know.
did you do? You
Yes.
spent it. You didn't remind me. That sort of thing. So realize that at least we used to do it regularly, but then things came up. At least once, twice a year, we'll sit down and have that full
Wide
discussion.
conversation.
How have we been doing with the money? How much have we been able to make? What's in our investments? What's in our savings? Where might we have spent a bit too much? Where are we, giving? Because we give, the relatives and friends.
Yes.
How much are we giving? Is it enough? Should we give more? Should we give less? So that conversation helps a lot, because then I get to hear his mind and he gets to hear mine. And then we can agree on the things, and then we can say, okay, this is what we've planned for there. So I'm the one who writes it down. I write it down. And so now, nowadays even Joseph will say, ever Just get the book out. I say hallelujah.
Yes, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
that's
that's
nice.
nice. I think appreciating your strengths as a couple
Yeah.
is very helpful in building financial discipline, but also learning from your mistakes.
Yes.
Yeah. Let
Yes.
your mistakes be teachable
Yes,
moments
yes.
and opportunities for you to have conversations.
Yes,
Not
also.
obstacles, yes.
Regular conversation about what to do. So someone might be thinking, okay, what's the goal of financial discipline? Yes, it's to have money for the things you need, but also as couples want to invest.
Yes.
They want to build their
Yes.
wealth. They
Yes.
want to leave a legacy
Yes.
for their children
Yes,
and for your
inheritance,
children's
yeah.
children. But investment is also one other thing that couples fight about a lot, possibly because of our differences. And just in the way we perceive money and investing.
True.
So again, my question on how do we invest together? How do we have those conversations? But also, what are some of the things that are available for couples to invest in that are, I don't want to say low risk, but maybe low risk. But how do you come to that consensus as a couple that maybe this is the area we need to invest in? When things don't go well,
Yeah.
how do we rise up from? Because that can be,
If you invested in something and it crashed.
crashes, I can start to blame my husband. Say, you're the one who insisted on it. I wasn't really.
Yes.
I was on the fence. You insisted,
Yes.
and then it becomes a source of conflict
Yes.
and even divorce
Yes,
eventually.
it's true.
Yeah. So let's talk through that.
Okay. Right. Let me go on this one first. Investment decisions. For us, we've been blessed as a couple that whenever there's an investment decision that comes up, we discuss it openly.
Okay.
And we agree. Sometimes we agree to disagree.
Okay.
Yeah. And in most cases, when we've agreed to disagree and I go ahead, it does not work out. In most cases.
Yeah.
And of course, there is a spiritual background towards
Implications to
that.
that.
And also, I mean, you have not made a decision as one.
Yes.
So we've learned over time that if I agree and she doesn't agree, we leave it. We put
Okay.
it on hold. We
Yeah.
have to both be in agreement.
Yeah. That's good.
So over time, we've gone through that in terms of decision making. We started with high risk investments because we were young.
Yes.
And we are like, really, we need to make money.
You know?
Kids are coming.
Yeah.
We have to hit it hard. So we lost a lot when we were younger. But as we grew, we now started realizing that we need to get into more stable investments that may give us a lower return, but then will be sustainable.
That's true.
And we will keep our capital instead of just wasting it. And that's how we've grown over the time. And that's how I encourage couples. I know many of the young couples want to go and looking for get-rich-quick deals, looking for opportunities that they're going to make hundreds of millions. But it's important that when you have brought all of your family capital together, that you have to risk a small percentage of it towards those high risk. So
That's true.
portfolio management, saying that we are going to, when we have all of this that is ready for investment, let's not put all of it in high risk. Let's spread it across low, medium and high risk
high.
investments. And then in that way, even though we lose, we have lost the capital, but we've learned the lesson, like me in agriculture. We've learned, but then we've not lost everything.
Yes.
There's still some other investments. So we reached a point where we say that, you know what, our greatest investment as a family is going to be our home. Because we calculated how much we had lost in high risk, and we said we'd have built a 3-bedroom bungalow house.
Imagine that.
So we said, let's go back to zero.
Yeah.
Let's build the home. It's a social investment. Because if you look at it from the financial perspective,
You
you'll
might
never
not
build.
build.
Yes,
You might never build. You say that, how do you spend this money and sleep in it and all these justifications. But then it brings stability to the home. It brings stability to the family. It also makes sure that you're planted. And you even go out there into the world to do business, knowing that you have a
Some
fallback
backup.
position.
Yeah.
So that's where we reached, and we say that we built our home. So for us as a family, our biggest and best investment has been our family home. Because it has brought that stability. And we calculated how much rent we had been paying over time, and it was a big dent from the rent we were paying. So we said, you know what, let's build our home and be secure. Then we can now go out and risk in business, knowing that we have a fallback position.
Yeah. That's wise.
And I like the idea of the social investment.
Yes.
Yes, because I think everyone is looking for the financial, which is important,
Yes.
the financial investments.
Yes.
But there are some investments that are social, and
Yes.
they go so far.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that it's good for couples to think how investing our money socially.
Socially.
Yes, so I like that.
Yeah.
And for me, I think Joseph and I, one of the things we really make sure we do is have time away from everything.
Yes.
And I told Joseph we once went to a place that was, I don't want to mention the name, but it was a very rough aged, those places where I've experienced the wild.
Oh dear.
You are, near the river. I just didn't like it
At all.
It was very basic. Even the breakfast was like this.
I know.
So I told him, I said, when we go, I want white linen,
Right.
white
Resort.
towels.
The beach, white sand.
Please. Thank you. And then I said, we'd rather work, towards, and then, so that then we are enjoying it.
Yes.
And then we're having, and then we're not wondering, what's that? Did you hear this? Things like that. So, but for us, it's very important for us to, so at a minimum, we try and make sure that at our anniversary, we go out.
Yes.
We go out and say, let's go for a weekend. If we're not able to, at least let's go for a proper nice dinner somewhere and sit and talk. It's a social investment. Some people may think it's much, but I think you're investing in your marriage.
Correct.
Yes, you're investing. It may take some money, but
longer than
it lasts longer, so that you can bond and connect and things like that. But for us, investment, in terms of investment, how have we been able to do it together? I think this one, I take the flack. So we had friends who were investing in different things. Of course, somewhat middle level, I could say somewhat high level, somewhat level. And then I thought, what do we have to our name? Like, I just thought we have just our jobs. We don't have a business. We have some savings, but we need to do something. Yes. So friends had things like a border. Someone's like, I have 2 borders somewhere. I have a chapati stall, but others had businesses. I have a retail shop, and what others was way up there with bigger. So I nagged Joseph.
Really?
I nagged him.
We must invest.
We must, yes. We must have a business. We must. Why don't you try? So he would say, okay, let me try and find. Then he'd come with some ideas. I'm like, I like that. Then he would not necessarily. I think because he wasn't feeling it. Yes, he was not sure that he would manage it.
Yes.
Then I would come back. We don't. Even Rachel, even Martin. This really is not. We cannot be in this day and age.
Yes.
Oh my God! I know. Poor thing.
Shots fired.
I know, right? I stressed Joseph, and then to the point where he said, "You know what? Let me make the wife happy." So we got a small shop.
Yeah.
It was in Burger at that time. I think dealing in clothing, clothes and everything. We had a lady who had worked with us before, who was good generally. So she did, but it didn't really work out that well. So we said, no, let's bring it back. Then I kept on saying, but we need something else. So he said, okay, Charlie Wajala is a better place. It's busier and that sort of thing. Let's think. So we got something there. Which I think had started well because I had the time to keep checking and going and withdrawing and getting the money, banking it. But when I got so much busy at work, I stopped going regularly. And I think the person either was overwhelmed or she just didn't manage the money well.
Yes.
But I was still stuck. I was like, we still must have
something.
The only what ended up why we stopped it was because at the end of the day was because the person who had leased the place to us.
Yes.
I think it had been leased to him. So he came and told us and said the owner of the land wants to do a different, developments there. So everyone has to go. So that's when we were like, okay, we have to, go. So, but I think at that point I learned and I said, okay, Carol,
let's go slow.
Yeah, let's go slow. You're pushing too much.
Yeah.
And then you also don't have expertise in that thing. That was I didn't have the expertise to sort of think through and plan and manage, or even the passion.
Yeah, the passion.
Yes, I didn't have the passion for what we're doing. That I didn't have the passion. I just wanted us to have a business. So I think at that time I learned my lesson, and then we decided at that point that let's invest in things where we don't have to. It's a passive investment.
Yes,
we don't have to constantly go and check and look. Let it make money for us. And so we agreed because we were both very busy. We both have, really busy jobs. He's doing Joka, he's doing what? I'm doing all these things. So we agreed for now, let's invest in that. So we've invested in things like treasury bonds. We've invested in things like unit trust.
Yeah.
We've invested in insurance plans.
Yes.
The education insurance plans. Then we're also part of a couple of investment clubs.
Okay.
Yes.
And even then they've taught us things, because I remember one investment club, the first time they came, they were asking for, guys, come join me. It was a school group. And I wanted to join because I was like, I wanted to do, But when I came back to the field, like, I'm not sure. I when I even what's the plan? And no, these are friends of He's like,
I'm not feeling
I'm not
it.
feeling. Yeah, so I said, no, I don't think so. We have already. So I remember that time I sulked. I said, but this person. So I did. Now the next time though they came up, they came up now, but it was a good decision he made because they burnt their fingers. Poor thing.
Oh.
Yes, it didn't go well.
Oh dear.
Yeah, as many of these things happen.
Yeah.
So now this time when they came around and decided to fix it, they said, we're going to fix it. We're going to have a better structure. We're going to, and they came out with a good plan. We all sat, we decided how should it work. Do we have a chairperson? We did it very well. So now when I came back to him and I told him, I said, you know what, they've come back and I'm just letting you know. This is what, yes.
Yeah.
It's like, now that sounds like something. That's a solid plan. I like the idea of this. I like that. Who's doing this? Let me look at what. He said, we invest.
We invest.
And I think I said, okay, can we put 2 million? No, put 5.
Whoa.
Okay.
I was like, okay. I was like, yeah. So I was, and it's been growing.
Yes.
So one thing I think I realized in terms of it, that Joseph I realized he has a mind. Can I say he sees?
Yeah.
He sees something. Yeah, he has intuition.
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, I see things. I'm like, can we? Then and he doesn't. He's like, no, I'm not. So now I've learned to listen.
Yeah.
To Joseph. Even if it looks good, but he's not feeling it,
Yes.
I'm like, there's a
hold
reason.
on.
Yes.
There's a reason. So I hold on
Yes.
and I wait until and sometimes he'll come back and he'll say, but there's that thing. I think we can go for it now. And then and almost all the time it works out well.
Yeah.
So I've learned I realize that I am the saver, but Joseph is the investor.
Yeah.
In terms of he has the knowledge, he has, he will say, let's go for that bond. Let's go for this. He has, because many of these things he's the one who has pushed and said, let's do this, let's try this. So we've learned that. And so now we talk about the investments, just like, you do. We talk about them and say, does it work for us? What are we going to get? Because sometimes I want to go for a bond and he's telling me, but this money, we probably want to do ABCD. Let's use it instead in an interest. Then it makes a lot of sense. So that conversation is what is very helpful.
Yeah.
So that's how we've been able to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your stories are both very, very enlightening. What my question is, and I'm trying to think about the person who is watching.
Yes.
Where do you get this money to invest?
Yeah.
Because what we've been talking about is you put money for expenses.
Yes.
So the money for investing comes from where?
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
So that's one. I think that's what taught me was from the that nursery school incident when we didn't have money. So that's when I told him, when we got the money, I said, first thing we're doing, standing order.
Okay.
We're getting a savings account.
Yes.
And when our salary comes off,
They'll take
off this amount.
Yeah.
They'll take off this amount and put it there. Then we will determine what to do with the saving we're getting from there. So we did for him and we did for myself and we let it grow for a while. And then that's when we started to realize we can do different things with this money. So for us, what has helped us a lot is determining how much money goes into the savings pot and where is it coming from.
Yes.
Is it coming from a salary? Is it coming from a gig? Where is it coming from?
Yeah.
So we've learned so the easiest for us was a standing order.
Okay.
That's what I was saying. Because many people, the idea that, okay, I've received my 2M.
Let me
I'm going to only spend until it's 1M. The other one,
you don't know that.
It's when something is going to come up. Someone is going to ask for, money and that sort of thing. So we decided, no. If the 2M comes in and we are saying we're saving 300,000, the rest is for different things. Let it go and be put in an account where we are penalized if we withdraw more than once in a quarter for that matter. Yes. So we don't pick it unless there was an emergency because there's a penalty to that. So it's like it forces you to save. Yes. Yeah. So we decided to do that. We said, okay, where we have money that's coming in regularly from a salary, let's have that standing order so that money is taken, and then we can plan for what has been saved. If we get a gig, let's discuss and say, I got this gig. It was a good gig. How much should we spend? And one thing we've done is that if let's say I went somewhere and they're giving me 100,000, I can spend it the way I want. I can say, so and so wanted money. So and so,
Yeah.
But once it gets to let's say 250, I have to let him know I have 250. What do we need to do with this? Yes, I wanted to do this. Then either he can say yes, or he can say, you know what, we need this, that sort of thing. So we put an amount and said, above this amount, we must declare and say, I have gotten this from this gig or from, I didn't know, I went here thinking, And then they gave me, I thought they would give me 50K, they've given me 300.
Yes. What do we do?
What do we
it?
do?
Yeah.
Yes. And so that has helped us also to discuss and say, okay, let's do this with that. Because
And
then
it happens both ways, even him.
even him,
Okay.
yes. He also, yes. So
Someone might be there saying, so now the woman is now who declares.
very good point. No. We both declare.
Okay.
We both declare. So then that helps us to decide and say, okay, where's the money going? How much are we saving? How much are we investing? How much are we, that sort of thing. And so it's gotten easier because now we know. So now it's become, like I said, a discipline.
Okay.
And we've learned, and we do a lot more, in fact, Martin, we should, we do a lot more reading and understanding, to sort of say, okay, what are the different opportunities out there? What should we know about money? What can we do better?
Yes.
What are we not doing well and we need to stop? Right now, I think for me, one of my key things is how do we teach the children So now what we tell them is that we give them pocket money. Anything that remains is yours. We save it for you. Then the next time you get a fresh, don't worry. We won't say, hey, Posy, you came back with 40. We are going to, we're just adding a little more. No, it is yours.
It's going into
for your account. Yes. And so now I think they want to they are competing.
Yeah.
Because Akila has more. She's been in school longer. But Adela wants to get to closer to where she is.
Yeah.
And I like that because now they recognize that. Because some things I tell them, you're buying that with your money. Not mine.
Yeah.
Then they go and they say, but it is 30K.
A lot of money.
A lot of money. I have 100 and it's that.
They're left with 70.
So they said, let me wait until I get maybe a certain amount, then I can afford to buy. So we are learning more and more the things. So I think it's important as a couple to keep learning and saying, what can we do better? Where else can we invest?
Yeah.
And thinking through, of course, because you don't want to invest in places where you get burnt. Yeah.
Oh, that's mighty helpful. Yeah. To you, the financial literacy guru. Where does this investment money come from?
Yeah. Okay. I just want to talk about saving, but I want to bring it from a perspective of an entrepreneurial mindset versus an employee mindset.
Okay.
So you have the entrepreneur who looks at a business opportunity or an opportunity and sizes it up and says that this is going to actually bear profit.
Okay.
And then they pursue it and it brings profit.
Yeah.
The more profit it brings, the bigger the business becomes, and the bigger the richer the individual becomes. So that's the entrepreneurial side. The employee side is that I'm going to look for a job that's going to pay me what I think is fit my skills. But the employee doesn't know that they themselves are actually an entrepreneur, because you have to go and sell yourself. You are a business unit, and no one is going to take you on unless you're giving value to them. So the more value you put in yourself, the higher you get paid. So as an entrepreneur is reinvesting the profit and designing more products and services to grow bigger. The employee should be investing in themselves as a human resource to earn more.
Got it.
So once you are both at a stage as an entrepreneur where you cannot reinvest the profit, which this other side is called a saving, you're not able to grow. So now the employee's mindset is that I want to be able to get a job that can meet my needs, and not necessarily a job that can make me save more, to invest in myself more and grow. So that's where the dichotomy is. And that's why you see that in any nation in the world, the entrepreneurs are the richest community. They are the richest community. Because the employee mindset is different. So now to the employee, look at yourself as a business unit, just that you're a single entity, you're not a corporate entity. And that the more you invest in yourself, that is by creating more savings, which savings you can use to invest in education, invest in growing your net worth by buying more investments, then you're able to rise faster and be paid higher. Then you can increase the amount you are saving. Because each one of us here, the amount that we are paid during our first job and now is not the same. Because we've been able to invest in one, experience, but also in skill. And that's how we increase. But then it's not necessary that when you increase in your salary, your savings will increase. In most cases, it is like a glove. Once you're earning 500,000, you fit in the 500. Once you get 5 million, you fit in the 5 million. 20, same. And the higher you go, the more responsibilities, that means the more spending. Most people are like, the day I start earning 100 million shillings every month, I am going to be the richest person. guess what?
I know.
That money can disappear in 3 days
Wow.
in the kind of economy we are in.
Yeah.
So it's important to start from the level that you are and be conditioned that 20% of whatever I earn, as she said, is going to be put aside. And the further you separate it from you, the higher the chances are that you will not use it. That means you need to have a goal also. You don't just save out of reflex action. You should have a goal and say that we want to buy land as a family. We need 50 million shillings. This is how much we are going to put aside. And this is how much we need to get. And you are all being accountable to each other. We want to start a business. We can start with 5 million, then we grow it. Then you start putting the money aside. So there's no shortcuts to investments. You have to start with saving. Even for business, you need to have savings to start the business. So the bottom line, what is at the bottom of both the entrepreneur and the employee is saving. Just that it's a different language. Profit on this side, saving on
the other side.
Yes.
Okay.
I just wanted to add quickly to what I think that's a very, very good point, Martin. Thank you for raising it. One of the things we've done, which was I told him, because when we started to save, we were earning, but we were saving. And we were, we could now do things that time we could parent without any stress. 3 months here. School fees here. 1 week ahead. So I was like, this thing actually works. It's very good. So it was very, and I think we saw that joy, we were happy. So it made us want to do it more. So I decided so that as soon as we would get a raise at work, I'll tell him, boss, you what?
We're
increasing
the amount
because
of
we are fine. We've not died. We've been able to pay the rent. The children are fine. So that doesn't mean that now, we should get, I don't know, a bigger house. So bigger car. Yes. Because we have that goal, like Martin was saying, we want to move into our own home. So at that time, that's what I wanted to do. I'm like, this is, so I told him, I said, so we kept that, like, as long as we get a raise, then the savings also increases. So that, I think that really helped us too. And you see, I think for me, if you practice it, then you will see how it works and how it really works well. So,
and of course it takes patience.
It does.
But as like you said, as you watch the money grow and see what you're able to do with it, then it encourages you to keep going. It encourages you to keep going. Okay, so I feel like we have helped couples figure out the aspect of oneness when it comes to finances. And I think everything both of you have been saying is hinged on being able to do it together.
Yes.
So this thing of my money is going here and your money is going there will work against you. It will work against you. So I hope that this, what has been shared here can help you appreciate the value of oneness when it comes to dealing with finances.
Yes.
But as we come to a close, I had a question that I wanted to ask at the beginning, which I feel like will help tie up this entire conversation. What is the most important thing you have learned about money that has either supported your journey? Maybe you learned it, through a mistake that you made, but that you'd want to leave with our audience today. I know that many things have been said, and I'm sure they've been taking notes. But as we wrap up, what is the most important thing that you have learned about money?
Okay. All right, so I'll go first. Money is a seed, at the same time a fruit. So when you earn money, you've got the fruit for your labor. But in it is a seed. Just like you get a mango and you eat the flesh, and there's a seed that if you plant it, you'll be able to grow it. So whenever you get money, look at it as a mango, where there's the fruit part that you eat and there's the seed part, which is the saving that needs to be put somewhere where it is going to grow. Now, most of us look at money as a fruit. Like a banana. You eat all of it and you throw the peel. There is nothing that you can transplant or plant again. So whenever you look at money, look at the banana and look at the mango. They are both yellow, but they give different results. And they have different So that's one thing that I've learned about money. Many people think that they're going to wake up one day and they'll be
have
rich.
money.
And that's not the case. If you ask any business person, any rich person, they all started by sowing the seed and being consistent with sowing, harvesting, harvesting over and over again. And through that, they were able to compound their interest, compound their investment, and in that create wealth and build onto what they had started, which was a seed.
Okay.
So my message, especially to the younger generations
Yeah.
that look at people older than them driving nice cars and they feel like, I can get that car yesterday because someone is driving it and I can also drive, and they'll do anything. They'll go and get debts, they'll go and borrow just to look nice and keep up appearances. That it's important to look at someone's journey that they have taken to get to where they are. So money is a seed and a fruit.
And a fruit. I like that. Yeah, it's a really good one.
I think for me, close to a couple of things, close to what you have said, money grows, or money can grow, depending on what you do with it. And when I started working, I worked at the Monitor for a long time. When I started working at the Monitor, I remember after my probation, my salary was 500,000 shillings. Of course, very exciting. For me, it was, I lived with my parents. It's a lot of money. I lived with my parents.
Yeah.
So I didn't have, my dad would drop me
Yes,
to work
wow.
as it goes to, because of my way.
Your money was your money.
My money.
Literally.
The ride back, I mean, the taxi back to home was very little,
Yeah.
you know, so I really, it was, everything was
enough.
mine. Yes. So but you can imagine at that point, and even as when I met Joseph, I sort of thought, okay, we'll do this, we'll do that, we have our children now, they'll go to these schools. I did not for a second ever think that I did not at some point think that we could consider taking our children for university out of the country. I said I would, if you asked me like maybe 10 years ago, I would be like, there's
no way. With
Yeah,
what
I
money?
know.
We can't
They
afford
are
it.
not. We are going to our public universities. They are
Yes.
good. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Oh, yes.
And but because of how we've invested and how we've planned, it is now does not seem so foreign to me.
Yes.
Especially because our firstborn wants to do a course that we've not found
In
Yeah.
Uganda.
in Uganda,
Wow.
and she's very, she's keen on it, and I know she has the talent for it. So we've been thinking, okay, so somewhere in Africa, where can we go? And of course, it's going to be more expensive than
Yes,
here.
it
Yeah.
is.
But for me to be able to think and say, I think it is
There's a
possible. We
possibility,
can.
yes.
Yes.
That is a joy,
Yeah.
yes. And it just shows me that money can grow.
grow.
Yes.
If you save it, if you invest it well, if you plan for it, that has to be there. Without that, it won't, grow. Or if you get it quick rich schemes, it tends to disappear also very
That's
fast.
true.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes,
Easy
that's
come, easy go.
Easy come, yes.
easy go.
And then the other thing I've learned that as a couple,
Yeah.
doing things together when you're on the same page and agreeing is very fulfilling. And I feel like when I look back at it, I say, if I was still by myself, let's say, I think I'd have done things for myself. But I don't think I would have the house we are in. I don't think I would have the car that we have. I don't think that because I couldn't do it on my own.
Yes.
I'd have made the money,
Yes.
but because it's just Carol's money,
Yes.
it wouldn't. But when Carol and Joseph came together,
Yes.
yes, and plan and say, we have this, let's put,
Yes.
they are saving more, they're
Yeah.
investing more,
Yes.
Yeah.
they have a plan, they're getting
making
two minds,
better decisions.
making better decisions,
Yes.
2 minds coming together, learning from there, and so then they have a better return for it. So for me, that has been my experience.
Yeah.
That when the two come together, agree, sit down, talk, and plan, they get more.
That's true.
They get more.
That's true.
Yeah.
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 I am not going to add anything to that. Thank you both for being here and for lending us your wisdom and your stories. I think many people relate when you share from your personal experiences. So they know, okay, they went through that thing. I also went through it. And that's how they overcame. Therefore, I can overcome as well. So I appreciate you both for being vulnerable and putting your spouses on the chopping blocks. I wish you peace.
Thank
as
you.
you go back home.
Yes, we need it.
We need it. Yes, we do.
I hope you don't sleep on the couch. I wish you peace.
Greater good.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So maybe Martin, for the sake of our audience, I want you to say more about what you do because someone might need your services or
yes.
Great. So I am a financial consultant and I'm very passionate about personal financial management and planning. So we do financial education. We also do project management and business development services as a company. I've also written a book.
imagine
Yes.
a whole author.
I know.
So if you're out there and you're a savings group and you feel like your group is struggling, it's not giving you the results that you expected, it's not giving you the return from your savings, there's a book that I've written called Count Me In. You can get it online at africanbooks.com. It's only 20,000 Uganda shillings and be able to read it, and it will encourage you and give you some well-researched and experienced knowledge about how you can be able to take your savings group to the next level.
Awesome. So yeah, there you have it. I think there's no end to learning.
Yeah.
And even as a couple, I think,
yes.
are you able to consult for
yes.
like couples?
Oh yes,
You know, and
I'm
families?
very passionate about families and couples, and
nice.
yeah, we can come and have a session with you as a couple, or you could be a family or marriage community.
Yes.
We can come in and facilitate a session with you. I recently did one on vision boards for a church community, about 10 couples, and we had an interesting time and learned a lot. So yes, available for that too.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Carol, I know you don't do financial literacy professionally,
Yeah.
but I've had the opportunity to sit with you and talk, but you can tell us what you do.
Okay. Yeah, so I am an editor and media consultant. I edit all sorts of things, books, journals, reports from different organizations. I love to edit. I'm constantly editing, which is sometimes not a good thing. But so I edit lots of the personal individuals who are writing books and fiction or real life, memoirs, things like that. Then I also teach writing. I found that many people struggle to express themselves through written communication. They will do it, speak, they'll do a good job. But when it comes to written, that pitch, that proposal, that, you're struggling, your boss is saying, this person doesn't know how to write emails. Why? I've actually been called to teach about writing emails.
Wow.
Are you
Because
serious?
people make the oddest mistakes. Yes, and then you're writing to a sponsor, you're writing to a don, the person you want to.
One
You need to
typo
make
can
an
get you off.
impression.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So I teach in terms of how can you improve your writing, how can you do better. Those are things I do.
Okay. So I have some powerhouses here on The Good Wife.
Oh yes.
So if writing is something that you need support in, and I know she has classes from time to time.
Yes. Actually, our next
monthly?
class is in May. Yes.
In May?
Yes.
Okay, so you need to sign up for that. Maybe we'll include links in the description box and a contact for Martin as well.
Yes.
If financial literacy is something you want to invest in, but invest in yourselves. Also
I
invest
know.
in
That's where you start.
Yes.
invest in yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I know I can't pay for the information you have given us,
Who
but
said?
I can give you a small gift. Because I know if you were to send me an invoice,
Yeah.
I might run out of here. So this is from Risa Naturals.
All right.
Risa Naturals make natural skincare products.
Okay.
Again, to social investment. I think consider this.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
social
what
investment.
Yeah.
So they do body butters, body oils, body scrubs, and a whole range of. They smell amazing. Skincare products, and they do for both men and women.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So please tell me you're going to use this,
Um,
and don't defer it to your wife.
based on what we just spoke, I think this is going to be my piece.
Your
offering.
piece. Don't sleep on the couch. Don't sleep on the couch.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And a little something for the boys.
Okay.
Yeah, from
Nice.
Newman's. Newman's make snacks of all kinds. So potato
Wow.
crisps, gonja crisps, nuts, sim, and
Nice.
a whole wide range of products that you can
Thank
have
you so much.
in your
Yeah.
home.
Although I'm
So-
not sure they may reach the boys, but
and some popcorn as well. Please let at least one pack.
I'm joking.
Thank you so much. So kind.
Please do. Please do a big
Wow,
shout out
thank
to
you.
Risa Naturals and to Newman's for supporting The Good Wife and the work that we do here. It could not have been possible without you. Thank you for watching. Please leave us a comment. Let us know if you have learned something from this episode, something that you're going to take into your family, especially for the single people. I feel like maybe this was more for you, so you know some of the ropes to pull when you get into the marriage space. Maybe you could even start saving now. Who knows? And then get into your marriage when you have a significant amount of money and you can teach your person that saving is important. Until next week, God bless. And do remember to subscribe to this channel. We love you. We'll see you next week. Bye.